You know, Judaism, maybe 90% of Judaism is African spirituality. Maybe 90%. The practice is there in Judaism. It's African spirituality. And when I arrived there, they said, Bungoma, there's nothing wrong with Bungoma. They say Bungoma, it's fine. They even read some scriptures and say, even Jacob was raised by a Sangoma. They said Laban was a Sangoma, raised by... I find them encouraging Bungoma and ancestors. And to them, ancestors were very, 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 very important. Wow. Very, very important. You know, one of the rabbi, you know, there is one scripture one day he quoted and wrote and read that scripture. That scripture, it says, when Saul was anointed to be a king, was supposed to be anointed to be a king, he was led to go to Samuel. After he has been anointed, Samuel says to him, when you live here, you must go to the graveside of your great-grandmother, Rachel. And when you arrive there, the power of being a king will be manifested in you. You know, this rabbi, he says, you know, he said so many people in this world, they have lived their lives as slaves because they've forsaken the graves of their forefathers. And if you have forgotten the grave of your forefathers, you'll never rule. You'll never be a king. The power of king will never come. If you want to have power, power is there in those graves of your forefathers. Those who have begotten you, those who have given birth to you, that's where the power is. You know, that rabbi is in Israel now. He used to encourage people so much when it comes to ancestral things. And then that's how, to me, the thing, it started now to develop. To develop. You know, it was a right direction for me to go to Judaism. I don't even regret, even up to now. Because I learned and studied so many things there under them. And at the same time, it modeled my life. And they encouraged me so much, you see, that I must join myself with my ancestors. And those are the people, in fact, who encouraged me to come back to African spirituality. The people in the Jews, because they showed me how important, because they say, you consider Judaism, especially the Torah. The Torah, it's over 90% African spirituality. Even some of the festivals that we practice, even in Kwala, is there in the Torah, but it's practiced as Yom HaKippurim, because to them it's Yom HaKippurim, but to us we call it in Kwala, mixed with what they call Yom HaBikurim, which is the first fruit, the first fruit, you see. We mix the first fruit and Ingwala, which is the Day of Atonement, you see. So I was so encouraged by those people. And with there, fortunately, I said, no, after all, for me, everything is there. And my grandfather is still there, is still alive. Because my grandfather is still alive, I went to him, and then my grandfather, they said, they were very happy. They said, no, we welcome you. And they were expecting, Guti, at some stage, you will make a U-turn and come back to your roots. You know, Africans, there's one thing that they don't know. They don't know that they've got gold when it comes to African spirituality. You know, there is no spirituality in the world that is superior than African spirituality, because all the spiritualities have been developed from African spirituality, and African spirituality is developed from nature. It's a spirituality that is in line with nature. You see, everything there, it works with nature. Nature, you see, nature, it's the God of the spirituality. And nature is the founder of the spirituality itself. There's no man that we can point and say, this, because again, spirituality, African spirituality, it's not a belief. You see, all these others, they are belief systems. They are based on beliefs, because belief is something that you are not sure of whether it exists or doesn't exist. But African spirituality, it's based on knowledge, that you must know the things. You must know. Because when we say we follow ancestors, we follow them because we know them. And there is a proof of their existence. It's not something, it's something that can be scientifically proven that these people, they once lived, they have existence. In fact, by me being here, I'm the evidence that those people, they have lived. You see, so I'm living because they have lived. You see, I'm the testimony. If I'm saying I'm Silindza, the surname itself has been taken from those ancestors. The surname, when I'm calling myself Silindza, which means I'm also testifying that there were certain people who have lived, which means everything we do in African spirituality, it must have an evidence. Because for me, my grandfather would hate to see me being a believer. He used to discourage me to believe things. He said, to be misled, it will come with belief. People, they will come and say, there is something, such thing. Then they said, now you must believe. You must just follow these things. So they must prove their things. Because that's why my grandfather's statement used to say, if it is preached, it doesn't exist. If it is preached, it doesn't exist. It needs people to be convinced. Because he will say the sun, you know, my tribe, or we are this, you know, there are this, when you talk of people, there are people who claim that they come from the reeds. You see, there are people of the reeds. There are these ones who claim they come from the sun, people of the sun. So I'm part of those ones who are people of the sun. So that's why we literally worship the sun. For us, some people, they can even call us that these are sun worshippers. We definitely worship the sun because it gives us life. And we don't need anyone to preach us that the sun is there. You go out here, you will see the sun. And everyone knows that if the sun will be no more, there will be no life in this earth. Which means the sun is also God. So we do worship the sun. And because we worship nature. Sun is part of nature, and we follow nature, and we worship nature. And things that we worship and things that we follow have got evidence, can be proven. You can see. No one can dispute. If we say sun, the sun gives us lives. No one can dispute that. There's no argument. You don't need to argue and say, hey, this sun, this. We know the sun gives us life. Yeah, the sun is the one that gives us life. If there would be a son of God, the son is the son of God.
That is the son.
That's it at the end of the day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's such an important thing for people to understand, I think. Thank you so much for shedding light on that. So, you know, you were telling us, because I was going to ask if you were ever a church goer. That was, you know, one of my questions to you.
Yeah.
So, you know, what is your relationship with church now? And what is your understanding of why we love church so much as African people?
You know, African people, they are people who are so rooted in the spirituality. And when the whites came, they substituted our spirituality with religion. And that religion is so embedded within us now that we don't want to leave it. We don't want to let it go to us. And it's in one way or another, it dilutes our spirituality. You see, it makes it not that powerful as it's supposed to be, you see. Because people who are religious, you can go to do things with them, but they will be left somewhere. There are areas where they won't go deeper to them because of the religion they have. You see, so African spirituality needs to be, it's superior. It's the first spirituality that doesn't need to be mixed with any other spirituality, because all those other things, they've been copied from there, and they are based on books. They're based on books. And in those books, all of them, if you can see of them, they are revised. They've got different versions. You know, it's only lies that has got several versions. The truth is one, you see. But now, once now you come with the books that has got this source versions, version A, version B, and revised in 18 Sawatwat, revised. How do you now claim this thing is a truth if it's being revised every time, edited, revised, edited, revised, edited? A truth doesn't need revision, doesn't need to be edited, and it doesn't have different versions.
Because it's consistent.
A truth doesn't change. That's why African spirituality, it doesn't change. People will try and change it, but the core roots of African spirituality, it doesn't change. Because true knowledge doesn't change. It is the things that we learn from people that normally change. But now, if now I teach you about a tree, teaching you about a tree, that's true knowledge, because the tree will never change. If today I take a tree and say this tree is for healing A, B, C, D, even 100,000 years later, that tree will be still healing those A, B, C, D. Yeah, it won't change. It will still have the very same characteristics within them. The properties will be still the same within the tree. That healing power that is within the tree, you see, will still be there, rooted in the tree. So nature doesn't change. But that's why all these things, the religion, they must be revised. Because, you see, in fact, it's lies, man, that needs to be revised. And it's lies that have different versions. But the truth stays the same. Those who say the soul goes away, they came with those religious people because they wanted to move people away from communicating with those who are dead. Because we were supposed to be moved away. But now, we know that the spirit is there. I'm saying the soul is there. As the soul is there, we talk to the dead. That's why we go to the grave. We go to the graves and speak to those people. And we know those people, they hear us. They cannot respond back, but with their soul, they will have a way of responding back to us. They will have a way of responding. That's why those people, as they are there, we have to cleanse them. We have to cleanse their soul, because when death comes, it overpowers them also. And they become dirty. As they become dirty, those people, there must be a time, especially once their bile has burst, so that they must be, because bile is something that's has got so much spiritually significant. Bile. That's why in the most several things we use bile, because bile has got the spiritually significant, you see. So those people must be cleansed, their soul, so that when we go there and speak to those souls, we are speaking to the souls that are cleansed, that now are clean, they can hear us, and then when they visit us, because even to them it bothers them if they are not. Normally when people are not cleansed, you will dream about them sick. You will dream about your relative very sick, about to die, very thin, and all that. Then you must know that no, that person is crying. That person has not been cleansed. That person is complaining that for how long will I stay with this darkness of death that is over me? You see, now the person is willing that we help that person so that we will become a good ancestors to us. Yeah.
I'd like to get into, and also for my own curiosity, because it is my home, I want to talk about, because we know that Swaziland is very deeply traditional. So would you say there's a difference between Ugutwasa Eswatini and Ugutwasa Lamzan?
No, definitely there will be, it will depend, after all. Ugutwasa will always be influenced by the area you are initiated into, the area will influence it. Because, for example, if you are being initiated here in Joburg, Joburg is especially, it's even better in places like this, you see. But when you're talking of Joburg, Joburg is too noisy. And the ancestors, they don't like something that is very noisy. A place must be quiet.
Okay.
You see, a place must be quiet. So, like you go to township, it won't be like quiet as it is now. Township, we find that it's very noisy. You see, it's very noisy. So the concentration, when you do concentration, the concentration will be so limited. You'll be affected. So if you are initiated in places like rural places, like in Swaziland, maybe you go to rural places, you have got an advantage. There are clean rivers there. There are mountains that you can go to, and there are trees there. There are forests. You see, so you learn even to know the trees, to see the tree and touch it and feel it, and connect to those trees. You see, and like now, if you are here, sometimes some of the trees you might end up seeing them only in Faraday, and you see it as already the roots has been dug, but you don't know the tree in its original form. So it has an impact, you see. And the other thing that has got an impact, you see, when you talk of the spirits, zobungoma, those spirits zobungoma, they have got nationalities. They've got nationality. And this is the thing that affects a lot, is the nationality. Because you will find them concentrated among certain people. You will find that that spirit originates among these people. And if you want the best, you must go to certain people. Especially when you talk like, you talk like Umdawe. You're talking like Inzuza. You're talking like Umguni. Those spirits are so prevalent in areas like Eswatini, Mpumalanga, and Mozambique. And that area is a stronghold for such spirit. And when you talk of Emalangeni, Emalangeni, mostly those people, they are born with Umdawe and Inzuza. Even the kingship, it's normally maintained by the spirit of Umdawe, because that spirit is the one that maintains the kingship. You see, because people who are kings, they will need that spirit, because that's a spirit of kingship. You see, and you go now to those areas in Swaziland, you will find that you are likely to get the original, and even the trees that are related when you're making likobongo for those, you will get the proper one. Yeah, even for Inzuza. Inzuza has been so many, even the people of Inzuza in Swaziland, they are there. They are there, the people of Inzuza in Swaziland. And when you are there, among there, you are likely to be initiated in a proper way, because you will get the original of the thing. You see, you'll get the proper trees, you'll get everything will be proper. You see, but though in Swaziland, religion is very strong in Swaziland. So that religion has also destroyed Bunyanga in Swaziland, because some of the Nyanga, they find themselves having to conform. The pressure there is pushing them having to conform to religion. And now in Swaziland, there are very few Tinyanga even now, as we speak now. There are very few Tinyanga. There's not now much Tinyanga in Swaziland like we have in South Africa, because there's like a stigma. Because of the people being so religious, Bunyanga, it has got a certain stigma to other people. And some of Tinyanga, they find themselves having to go to church when it's come to Sunday. Now they put clothes so that we go and see all the things, buhlala and everything. They put dugu, they go to church. You see, because now they want now to to be among the people, so that because there's that stigma that goes nebunyanga in Swaziland. And that's why most of the people in Swaziland now, they are preferring to use isithunywa to convert lidlozi to be isithunywa and work in church. In Swaziland, most of the time now, if you go for uhlola, you might struggle to find inyanga if you don't know them. You might find yourself having to go to someone who say, I'm a prophet, who maybe was a Zionist or is this Jericho, this one Ongubosbov. You will find yourself having to go to them because that stigma has made it difficult for Dinyanga in Swaziland. But you can still find the good ones, but it's not like before now. It's not like before. Now you're struggling. Yeah, even if you're going in town in Swaziland, it's very rare to see someone wearing something yebunyanga. And it's very rare to see them because now they are getting fewer and fewer because of the stigma and because the country is so much into religion. You know, Christianity is so much dominating in Swaziland. Yeah, it's so much dominating and it destroys the spirituality. You know, people, they would say people there are cultural in Swaziland, but not as such. Not as such. You know, you would be shocked that at my family, if they've got a ceremony to let's say there's a cultural ceremony to be conducted, most of the time they will call me from Joburg to come and assist them. And you will find that they don't even know the process of doing. And they will call me, and sometimes I'll say, you people, I'm coming from Johannesburg. And you are supposed to be the one. You are supposed to be the ones who are teaching me this. But now I have to drive all the way and come to Sweden to tell you how do you conduct such a ceremony. Because most of them now, they are too religious. So being religious to them, it makes them now to lose
their roots.
Yeah, to lose their roots. Yeah, to lose their roots. Now, even they are left with these major ceremonies like Umhlanga, Ingwala, that one for Emakanu, these major festivals. Those are the ones that they are left with. And to most people, even the spiritual significance of those festivals, it's not important. It's like, let's do it and pass. But the spiritual significance of it, it's no longer there. And that's why even the rules now have been compromised. In Swaziland now you can go you're emhlangen even if you have got a child.
You used to not be able to do that. Was that?
In fact, umhlanga, you are not supposed to go there if you are not a virgin. Yeah, now even the issue of being a virgin, it's no longer an important issue. It's no longer a case. They compromise it and say, if you don't have a child, then you can go. You see, even if you are not a virgin, then you can go there. You see, then they compromised it. Now there are people even who have got children that go there. And they go there. You see, everything is being compromised now. It's being compromised. And that now it destroys the spirituality. We are compromising because, as I've said, that African spirituality is gold. You know, the Jews today, they are one of the richest people in the world. It's because of African spirituality. They follow that spirit. You know, if you could study deeper in that spirituality, this spirituality is very rich. It has got political systems, it has got economical systems, ways of life. There's so many things there. You see, there's so many things. That's why a Jew will say to you, you can take everything from me, but leave that spirituality. Because no matter what you take from me, as long as I've got that spirituality, I will live again, I will rise, I will survive again. And guess what? Even Muslim, Islamic, maybe it's 75% African spirituality. It's built upon African spirituality. most of the thing they do, it's African spirituality. Because that spirituality, you know, some people when they look at us Africans and say, what's wrong with these people? They were given gold. They've got gold. But they've left it's like this thing, what now we are doing, looking at Europe for healing, yet Europe doesn't have trees. The same thing now we are doing, always waiting for Europe to heal us. Waiting for Europe to heal. What will they use? Because they only have drugs to heal. They only have chemicals. They don't have trees. We African, we are supposed to be the one who will be healing the world. We are supposed to be the healer of the world because we are blessed with so many trees in Africa. But because of that mentality we have, we are always looking for answers and solutions in Europe. And nature has given us everything. It's given us so many trees, so many trees. You know, I was talking about there's a certain tree. Unfortunately, it doesn't grow in winter. But in summer, you can find it everywhere around the township. And that tree is also a very good medication for flu. One of the best. Maybe at the same equivalent strength with umhlonyane or even more. You see, nature has given us all those things for free. You can just go to the bush and take that thing and cook it and drink. Those some people, they used to brainwash us as if the African medicine is evil. You see, this thing you can take it and cook it, and we are blessed with so many things. So many. Even now, people that are talking about umhlonyane, they don't know that we have got so many trees that works far better than even umhlonyane. So many for flu, asthma, chest problems, and all the like. We have got so many trees that we have that we can use. But now, because we are confined to follow the European ways, to do things the European ways, you see, even the government, it goes with the European standard. Everything they will say it's not scientifically proven. In fact, when they say it's not scientifically proven, they want to say it's not approved by Europe. So we can't use it because Europe has not approved it. Because you can't say things that has been used by our forefathers for over 1,000 years. Then now you want to put it to scrutiny. You want to now to say this thing must be scientifically proven. Umhlonyane has been used for years. We don't know, thousands and thousands of years has been used, this thing. And then now you come, it's not scientifically proven. It's not scientifically proven. You know, you want to tell us it's not approved by the whites. Because the black man has made the whites their God. Yes. Everything, it must be approved by the whites. If it's not approved by the whites, it means it's not good for them. But we are the firstborn. We were in this world even before the whites. And we were given the best land. We have got so many trees, so many things. In fact, we are supposed to be healing these people. We are supposed to be healing the world. When the world is sick, it's supposed to come to Africa. Africa has got everything to heal the world. But now, because people, they are tuned to think in a box that we must follow what Europe tells us. We are the children of Europe. Then they cannot think beyond what Europe has told them. They find themselves now to impose chemicals on people. And those chemicals, they cause sickness to people. Because today, if you're drinking BP tablets, once you drink them a long time, there are three diseases that you will have. You will have gout, diabetes, arthritis. Those diseases, you will definitely have them. You see, the tablets, they create other business for others because now you were in BP tablets, now you have to get tablets for arthritis and maybe for gout.
And for diabetes.
And now for diabetes. So, see, they create business because to them, they're not into that for healing people. They're in business. Yeah, at the end of the day, they are here for business. You see, that's why all their sicknesses have got, all their tablets have got side effects.
And now they've started the vaccine trials in Soweto.
Yeah.
So we're now already, and there's people that really are refusing to understand or even like think about the consequences that could come with vaccines. So I don't know. I guess we'll see where it goes. Where do you think this whole thing is going?
For me, when I think the whole thing of coronavirus, I think the target is the vaccine. I think everything that is happening, it's centered around the vaccine, that people must be vaccinated. Because the vaccines are the one that are going to cause so much problems to people. They are one that will cause people, some will be infertile and all the like that. The one that might cause people, some they will create cancer and they create sicknesses. The main target of coronavirus for me, is the vaccine. Vaccine, it seems to me, is their main agenda. That at the end of the day, we must be vaccinated. And being vaccinated is the one that is going to cause serious problems. Vaccines, even in the previous, have caused so many problems in Africa. So many problems. I still don't believe people were supposed to be vaccinated in the first place. Yeah, we had got ways, even when a child is born, that we do this and this. And we had our own ways. That is natural, that we do this and this and this. So, but now, find that people have to be vaccinated. And those vaccines, they're the ones that have got big problem. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. It's very concerning, but it's like you can't really force people to, people are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, but there's people that can force people to vaccine if they like.
That's the truth.
This is they're forcing people to wear mask. They will say, if you're not vaccinated, you cannot get into the shop. You cannot do A, B, C, D. Find that when they vaccinate you, it leaves a mark. You will find ourselves that you go to a shop, they say, show us the mask, are you vaccinated? If you don't have that, you don't get into a bank, you don't do this, so in that way now you are forced. Maybe you want to go to the border, you go to Swaziland, they say in the border you have to show us you are vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you can't go through. They have got a way that they can force this thing, that people, on us, Especially Africa is full of sellouts. Most of African leaders are sellouts. They can sell us for money. Yeah, most of them, they're just sellouts.
And they're already doing that.
Yeah, they are always selling. In fact, even the kings, from long time ago, you could see that the kings have been selling us from long time ago. Even the kings we have now, they're all sellouts. They're just same like the politicians. They're just selling us out. They are always in line with the government, following and pushing the very same agenda they've got. If any government introduce any propaganda, they will be part of that propaganda. Kings, they will never stand against any government propaganda, because the propaganda will come overseas and then they will be given to government. Those people will get some monies, and then the kings, they will be part of the propaganda themselves to push it against us. You see, that's why, I don't even know what they stand for, kings, at the end of the day, because
they're the ones that were supposed to be the ones that uphold our culture.
Yeah, even cultures, I don't see any kings upholding anything cultural. I don't see, for them it's just to get salary. There's nothing cultural kings are upholding. They are the ones who are destroying culture. Yeah, there's nothing cultural. Most of them are religious at the end of the day.
That's such a good point, because, when we were talking about Swaziland, and you touched on a point that I was actually going to ask about, because I wrote here that, the last statistic I heard, Swaziland is about 98% Christian, but then they're the country, their last monarch. So, and a lot of people know, because Swaziland is deeply traditional, that's the place, especially in Africa, where culture should be preserved the most.
Yeah.
But the country is 98% Christian. So how is it possible, do you think, for there to be a kind of an African renaissance in Swaziland, where they start to acknowledge their roots again?
The difficulties is because, see, the status quo now, what's happening now, it's benefiting the leaders. So the leaders, they don't want the people to be enlightened, to go back to African spirituality, because African spirituality will open your mind, will make you to think out of the box. And when you talk about religion, religion conditions people. It makes them to be subservient, to be servants, to think in a box. And those people, they become sheep. And you know, you'll find people singing, Zama Zumelusi. They're calling themselves their sheep. We are the sheep. You see, religions makes people sheep. And they become sheep. And the system likes people who are like sheep, who are following like sheep. You know, sheep, they're following like sheep. So they've got no intention of awakening people, of bringing people into the light of the African. Because some people of our leaders, they've studied this system in England. They studied the system in England. That, you know, there's this thing of the Goyim, and there's this thing of the insider, that you have to have different sets of things. You see, you have things for the Goyim, you must have things. The Goyims, when they're talking of the Goyims, they're talking of the general public, the general people. These people are just like sheep. They are Goyim. You give them a cheap stuff to keep them entertained. And then you follow the real thing. Because the kings, even in Swaziland, they are not Christians. The kings themselves, they are not Christians. They are following African spirituality because they know it's superior. But now they have given the nation the inferior thing that will make the nation and keep them as sheep. You see, and keep them as sheep. You see, in religion, even in Roman Catholic, they know about this, that you must have two types of religion. You must have these ones, the stuff for the Goyim that keeps the people as sheep. And then you must have the other stuff that is reserved for the enlightened. You see, those who understand things, how things run, how things happen. Now, when you're talking of African spirituality will enlighten people, will make people to understand things, and now to keep them as sheep, you can't keep those people as sheep. So it will be very difficult that they will come with a revival that will enlighten people, and from where they have learned in those secret society, they know that you are not supposed to do that at the end of the day. Give these people something to and keep them. You know, children, you have to give children some toys while you drive the real car. So give these people something, a stock sweet anyana, something just to munya, so that they will say every time, no, just mine. Keep these people blinded. And a religion serves that purpose, to keep people stupid, to keep people not thinking beyond. Yeah, because religions makes people not to think clearly, not to think wide. So you have to keep those people religious. Say, we are a Christian nation. We are a Christian. You keep these people as sheep. Then now you follow the real stuff, because, as I'm saying, I know they themselves at the top there, they are not Christian, those people. They will come up and tell you, we are also Christian. Maybe it's time when it's Good Friday. They are not. They are doing their real African spirituality. They are keeping exactly the originality of the spirituality as it's supposed to be. That's why they are still buried where? In the caves. Yeah, they are still buried in the caves. They are still doing the exactly things. Even the building structure, when they are building, they still have the homes that are in line with their spirituality. They will say you can just build a house anyhow. You can do things anyhow. You see, they won't mind. You see, but for themselves, they know that they had to maintain the spirituality. So I don't see it easily happening that people will have such a revival of the spirituality, because kings, they want to keep people religious, because they know that as long people they are religious, we will do whatsoever want to do with them. They won't think beyond. Sometimes they are afraid that when we become, we had the spirituality gaining and knowing ourselves. Some of them, after all, they are not supposed to be kings. And if these people now will start knowing their history, they might realize that in fact they are the ones who are supposed to be kings. So you have to keep those people as religious as they are. Because as long as those people are religious as they are, they won't rebel against you. They won't rebel against the system. So religion, after all, has been the tool to keep people subservient, to keep people as servants to the system.
Please, if you can, tell us the spiritual significance of Umhlanga and Inqwala.
Umhlanga, it was supposed to be the beginning of the year.
Okay.
It was supposed to announce the beginning of the year in conjunction with the spring equinox. And you know, these virgins, they are sometimes called izintombi zikaNomkhubulwane. When you're talking of Nomkhubulwane, ukhobola, we are talking of the goddess of fertility and plantation. Unkulunkulukazi lobeka controller sekwazi ukuthi emvelo ucontroller ulima nekuhlanyela. So this festival was more important at the same time to announce the coming of the new year, because now we are going to usher into a new year, and these virgins were very important even in the asking of rain. You know, before when rain it doesn't rain, virgins were the one who will go and ask for rain, you see. So now, you know, there's Easter, Asheron, the festival of Easter, which is the same festival yakaNomkhubulwane, because Easter in Africa, Easter, Asherah, is Nomkhubulwane, is the very same goddess, goddess uNomkhubulwane, which means the festival of Umhlanga is supposed to be like a equivalent to the spring festival, the festival that announces the beginning of a year, the new year, that now we are ushering into a new year. So all things must be new. And then we are inviting the goddess of fertility to help us so that we will have good food and everything will go well as we are getting into a new year. So that festival, it's not for a king to choose a wife. After all, that festival, it's controlled by the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother is the one who dispersed the virgin to go and get the reeds. You see, and that very same reeds is also used kuhlanganisa nekuphicela lapha emaguma khona esigodlweni khona lapha, because the reeds will always have a spiritual significance to us as Africans. We use it in so many things. So that festival, after all, as I see it, people, they say, hey, it's a festival for a king to choose a wife. That's not, it can happen that a king can choose a wife. That's not a problem, but that it's not a festival for a king to choose a wife. After all, that festival is not for the king. It's controlled by the Queen Mother. The king, the festival that the king controls is the one for Inqwala. Yeah, Inqwala, one of the most, it's like the atonement of the nation. I've said it's almost equivalent to the major festival in Jewish that we call Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur in English, we're saying it's the Day of Atonement, where people, they come for that the sins for the nation will be atoned and the priest will enter into the Holy of Holies for the sake of the nation, you see. But now, the king will enter into Enhlambelweni, which is the Holy of Holies of the nation. But then in Hlambelo, before he enters there, this is Ngacha, the young men who are supposed to be not who known a woman, because men, you know, some people they say there's also, we only talk about girls. No, it's not like that. Everything in African spirituality has got a balance. Just as we've got Goka Umhlanga, we also have Goka Lisegwane by Izingacha. They have to go and cut the tree. And before, you were not supposed to go there if you have known a woman. And that tree used to wither if you have known a woman, and you were supposed to be beaten thoroughly. And that's the tree that is going to be used kuphiqela nekwakha inhlambelo, so that the king will enter into the Holy of Holies for the atonement of the nation, to atone for the sins, for the things that are not right for the nation. And within that particular ceremony, there is the first fruit that is included, where the king kumele alume. Before, we're not supposed to, because we have planted, then we just eat. Kumele kube nezethulo, we have to bring, and the king must eat first. Before, because the king is a spiritual symbol of the nation. Kingship in Africa was so rooted in our spirituality. They were not just there to get grants, as now the kings are for getting grants from government. These were spiritual people. That's why some before, to be a king, you're supposed to be also initiated like a sangoma, because you're supposed to be someone who is so spiritually connected, because you will also act as the high priest of the nation. And as acting as the high priest of the nation, then you atone for the people, and you are the one who are supposed to eat first. And then some will be burnt, kubongwe ini, kubongwe umveli ncanti, kushiswe kubongwe imvelo ukuthi sibonga sivunile, we have got food, now we can eat this and this. And then now the nation can go and eat. You see, then lo mlilo lo wekhundo kumele uqishwe imvula, and then the nation now will go and eat. You see, so those rituals were very important for Inkwala. The first fruit is very important, and the atonement of the nation. That's why sometimes they say Inkwala is the main prayer for the nation. Now, and it's a difficult time for a king, that one. That's a time where it's even difficult for the kings. You see, there are so many rituals that they have to undergo. They have to do. There's people of water. They're moving in all the corners and all the like. You see, and if even the very same festival of Yom Kippur, there used to be people who go and fetch water. We use a certain, they will say, Guna laba bemanzi, laba hamba baqela imali, laba nabahlangana nawe kumele ubaphe something, laba ubandlulise. And what we abandlulisa, ubanika something, laba abantu bemanzi. So, the same, even in Israel, there used to be same people abafana ngathi bemanzi nabo. Kungako laba bathi etempelini, they pour the water in the temple, and then they say it eBhayibhelini. Then Jesus stood and say, is there anyone who is thirsty? Let that person come and drink. And as those people pouring water during that very same festival, which was happening during that time. So those in fact, once a nation, before colonization, if you don't do Inkwala, you were not considered a nation. If you don't have Inkwala, and what was characterizing that you are a king, Gugita Inkwala. You see, Gugita Inkwala, to have Inkwala it was showing that you are a king. And because the Inkwala was not only isolated for Swaziland, even throughout Africa, the Inkwala was there. Throughout Africa, but that people, they've lost it. Then it's like now, at least the Zulu kingdom, they've revived it in a few years back now. They call it Umkosi Weshwama. Yeah, they call it Umkosi. They've revived it because you know the king of the Zulu normally goes to Swaziland, but at least he has revived in Nigeria. Even Umhlanga was not there. They revived it, I think in the 80s or something, so they revived it. Even the same Inkwala, they were calling it in another name, but they've revived it at least. Because see, those were the things that were marking and confirming kingship and that you are a nation. Once a nation has lost Inkwala, it was a dead nation. It means that nation is no more. You see, so many African nations, if they were still alive in their spirituality, they were supposed to revive that. You see, they were supposed to revive because that's a very, very important spirituality. Even now, Umhlanga, there are so many important things because it's ushering us into a new year, into a spring festival where we are begging the goddess of fertility. Because see, in Africa, but we'll talk one day, in Africa, everything works in balance. Everything works a male and a female energy. We don't speak of one. That's why this thing of single parent, this is not African. Africans, all things must be in balance. That's why we always have a king and Indlovukazi. We can't have a king without Indlovukazi. We have got a king Indlovukazi always. Even at home in our homes, we will always have ugogo, who is like Indlovukazi and Mkhulu. And it is, see, and below them, we have got the father, who sometimes say, Uyinkosi ekhaya. And then we have got umama, who is the great king of the home, who is inkosikazi yekhaya. We have got inkosi, we have got inkosikazi. We have got inkosana yekhaya. We have got inkosazana yekhaya. You see, everything goes with balance. We don't have single this. That's un-African. African spirituality always have a balance. That's why I've said we have got Umhlanga, we have got Ini, Lisekwane. Umhlanga is controlled by the Queen Mother. Inkwala is controlled by the king. You see.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of learning for one video. We're going to have to do another one